Everybody, I'm John. This is Cassidy. So I'm going to walk you through a basic understanding of the iLive board in the Youth Center. All right, so the majority of what you're going to be doing is just listening for what sounds good and a basic mix of those things. Majority of that you're going to do by just running faders. Turning up what sounds you want more, turning down what sounds you don't. Come on in, Cass. If I want more electric guitar, you can see here this is labeled electric guitar. I want more of that, I'm simply going to push my faders up, less is down. This is called a fader banks. Each one of our fader banks has 4 layers. Okay? This is basically all of our instruments, but if you switch this to layer B, this is our drums. Okay? And these faders live the same in all the scenes, so once you kind of see, oh, this is what it is here, it's that way every time. Color coordination will kind of help you get there quick. Greens are typically tracks, blues are instruments, reds are typically groups. Looks like they've got some blue vocals. If it were me, I would change that, but I'm not picky. All right, stepping up one layer, mix. You want to make sure you don't have any mix buttons on because that's going to change where you're routing things. You don't want to do that. Then we have mute. Red is off, so no matter how far I push this fader, if the red light is on, it's not going to work. That's a mute. Red is on, nothing is off. PFL is I want to preview this essentially in my headphones. So if you press that, you can come over here, put on your headphones. Here's your headphone volume. And you can listen to what that channel sounds like in your headphones. Select is the last one. Select essentially says, this channel that I've got selected, I now want all of these things up here to affect my keys channel. Okay? And we're going to stay with keys channel for the rest of our little preview here. That is, if you know that much, you can run probably on a Wednesday night. Because the rest of the stuff come in, it's going to be kind of set, it's going to be close. So if you can mix faders, listen. You can't mix with your eyes, you have to listen. So listen to what you want more of, less of, reductive mixing if you can. Take out what doesn't sound good, don't boost what sounds great. All right, let's move up here. Next big thing is your preamp. Let's think of it like this. You know a water dam? So a water dam, it's like your preamp and your fader, we're going to put them into a dam illustration. Every time. I'm a juvenile. I'm a kid. All right. Your preamp is like the size of how big your river or in your dam are, right? So if my preamp is turned way down, I'm only going to get this much water through, no matter how much I turn up my fader. So my capacity is set by my preamp, right? So if I turn my fader up, then I start getting more and more and more and more water through, but it still is only this size. If I turn my preamp up, now my dam is this big. As I turn my fader up, I start letting out more and more and more water. I have a lot more capacity for water because my preamp is bigger. So your fader and your preamp are kind of directly tied together for how much sound you can get. All right, those are your big two. Everything else I'm going to be from here on out is kind of technical. If you don't understand it, it's okay. We'll get more deep into it to the training. But if you understand, preamp is how big my capacity is. Fader is how much I'm letting through at one time. And you can unmute it, then you're off to a good start. All right, that's basically all you need to know. If you're overwhelmed now, you can stop here and you're off to a good start. Let's go ahead and hit the rest of these while we're at it. Okay, this is your high pass filter. We'll come back to that when we talk about EQ. This is your gate section. Right here you can see each of these sections are laid out. A gate is essentially just like it says. You think of like a gate on a fence. Essentially doesn't let sound through until you open the gate. We'll talk about those, what those knobs do at a later time. But if you're having trouble, if you you hear like, oh, this sound doesn't start early enough. Like she starts talking, but I don't hear her, and then all of a sudden it like jumps on real quick. More than likely your gate is set too high. You can turn it on and off. EQ is simply for shaping sound. Right? You can turn it up and down and off certain frequencies. Not really off. You can just turn them way down. Certain frequencies, and then you can adjust what those frequencies are, how much they're being affected. That goes back to high pass. That's part of your EQ settings. All right. Then we have compression. Compression is once again just like it sounds. You're squashing something down, right? So these settings are say I want my sound to get this loud, and then I want to start squashing it down so it doesn't like blow out my speakers or get too loud at any one time. Once again, more than likely these settings especially are going to be dialed in. You shouldn't have to mess with it a ton starting out. Here we have limiters and de-essers. As you can see, they're not even on. Getting pretty technical. A limiter is essentially exactly what it says. You're going to limit how much of this certain frequency I'm putting out, and then you can squash it down. And a de-esser, that's a good way to explain this. If I was to talk and super overemphasize my S's, and that was coming through the system, it could be really sibilancy and harsh. So you can use a de-esser to kind of tune that down some. Super high tech. Once again, faders, gain, mute. All right, lesson 1 in books.